I genuinely believe that the nutcases on the left think that climate change can only be caused in Britain, because you've got a bunch of MPs who have signed a letter now campaigning for an airport to be built in Pakistan, who are also opposed to an extra runway at Heathrow on the grounds of climate change emergency. What on earth is this? Complete and utter double standard. And who are the guilty individuals who are just absolute idiots? 8 MPs that are campaigning for an airport to be built in Mirpir, Pakistan, voted against the Heathrow expansion in 2018. Mohammed Yassin, Debbie Abrahams, Rosena Allin-Khan, Tamanjeet Singh Desi, struggling with some of these, James Frith, Imran Hussain, Afzal Khan and Yasmin Qureshi, all Labour MPs that signed a letter this week calling for an airport to be built in Mirpir, Pakistan. Let's take a look back at a few tweets from a few MPs who opposed the Heathrow expansion to see what they had to say about that. So we have Zara Sultana, the woke Sultana. She wasn't an MP when the Heathrow expansion was put to Parliament in 2018, but she was certainly against it, as her tweets show. Earlier this year, she called the Prime Minister's decision to back a third runway indefensible in the middle of a climate emergency. So she says, in 2018, the Prime Minister opposed a third runway at Heathrow. Now, in the middle of a climate emergency, his government is backing it, a complete U-turn at the expense of local communities and the planet. Reckless, short-sighted and indefensible. Very strong words from the woke Sultana there, but apparently that doesn't stop her from being in favour of a whole new airport being built in Pakistan. This simply doesn't make sense. There is no consistency whatsoever. The only explanation is that these nutcases think that climate change can only be caused in Britain. You never see these guys complaining about the huge emissions coming out of China. They only talk about Britain. So clearly, Britain is the only country that can cause global warming, I guess. Another guy who signed the letter for an airport in Pakistan, he tweeted this in 2012. Some people are obsessed with Heathrow expansion, but not a peep on other transport links. He also tweeted, important report on environmental impacts of Heathrow. Need to consider the air quality and carbon emissions. Clearly very concerned about climate change, unless it's caused in Pakistan, of course, because remember, Britain is the only country that can pollute the air. I'm sure Pakistan has like a bubble around it. That means that no carbon dioxide can get out of it. I'm sure that the same for China, right? Those countries, they can't possibly cause any emissions and cause any climate change. Just Britain, of course. And then another one, Dr. Rosena Allin-Khan. She said, fantastic victory for environment campaigners. This was back in 2020. She wrote this today at the Court of Appeal. A third runway at Heathrow is completely incompatible with our climate targets, she says. Huge thanks to your best friend, Sadiq Khan, and all others who brought this case forward, putting the planet and our health first. And she also said, I've used Heathrow, it's a great airport, but I cannot support a vote to build a third runway there. The environmental impact will harm my children, my grandchildren, and generations to come. I'll be urging others to vote the same way. Yes, airports will harm your children and your grandchildren unless they are built in another country like Pakistan, in which case, doesn't count, doesn't make a difference to the planet. Honestly. And let's also not forget, guys, those are some of the people who have been the huge hypocrites, right? Let's not forget that another man who has put his name to this letter asking for an extra airport in Pakistan is, of course, the MP who is interested in anything but his own constituency and the country he is living in. This is Tahir Ali, who, if you forgot his past record, he is the one who infamously stood up and essentially called for blasphemy laws in the UK. He also, if you turn back the clock a little bit further, he used a Prime Minister's question rather than to ask something important to his constituents, that was a local matter that he, could bring some answers to his constituency, he decided to tell Rishi Sunak that he had the blood on his hands for the dead children in Gaza. Well, anyway, he has now decided to ask for an airport to be built in Pakistan. That's how he spends his time as an MP, is campaigning for these important matters rather than dealing with the fact that Birmingham has turned into a third world country. Yes, Tahir Ali, he is an MP in Birmingham, and let's not forget what Birmingham looks like right now. Oh yes, it is very much looking like a complete and utter tip. It is unsanitary, it's unhygienic, it is disgusting, there are rats everywhere, the bin collectors, they're all on strike, and it is disgusting. Is he dealing with that problem? Oh, no. He is busy campaigning for an airport in Pakistan. The Daily Mail article is titled, "Which People Do You Serve Again? Fury as Labour MP in British City Piled High with Rubbish Requests New Airport is Built in Kashmir." A Labour MP for a city plagued with bin strikes and piled high with rubbish has backed calls for a new airport to be built in Kashmir. Tahir Ali, the MP for Birmingham, has come under fire for supporting campaign for a new airport in another country. And let's take a look at the tweet that he put up. So, you can see the photo here of them all standing very proudly with this letter that they have signed, and you'll see at the bottom of that letter there's a list of MPs that have all signed it. He tweeted, "This week I attended a press conference ordained by Mohammed Yassin MP, where 20 cross-party British parliamentarians requested for an international airport in Mirpir." Now, what is his justification as to why he, as a local MP, should be more interested in Pakistan than the UK? Well, he says, "There has been a long-standing promise for an international airport in Mirpir, which has yet to be met. This causes significant issues to a number of my constituents who are having to drive over 3 hours to get to the nearest airport in Pakistan." So there we go. The Pakistani community in Birmingham, where he is an MP, it's so large that I guess the constituents there are more interested in Tahir taking care of Pakistan than they are him taking care of the UK and getting the bins collected in Birmingham, which is probably starting to, look a little bit more like Pakistan than the UK. It is really starting to look like a developing country. And Robert Jenrick, he quite rightly hit back at Tahir Ali for this absolute nonsense. He says, "You're an MP for Birmingham, not Mirpir. The streets of your city are literally piled high in rubbish thanks to your Labour council. Focus on the UK." Short but sweet. There we go. Jenrick put him in his place. Anyway, let me know what you think of this down in the comments below. I'm Chloe Dobbs. Please subscribe to the Reason channel if you've not already. Catch you next time.